The insane truth about the three heavens, unveiling a mystery never told at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, a time drenched in mystery and whispered secrets. In the heart of the night, shadows grew thick, swallowing the warped streetlights. This was no ordinary hour. They say the veil between worlds thins, that the air vibrates with the echoes of those departed, and if you listen closely, you might hear the call of the three heavens. It sounded absurd, but a chill ran down your spine just hearing it. Meet Liam, an average guy with an average life until tonight. He had heard the stories, but a nagging itch of curiosity clawed at him. In the flickering light of his phone, he found videos of the unexplainable, figures darting through the dark, portals pulsating like hearts, and voices weaving a tapestry of shivers in the wind. Each clip made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. People claimed to witness things there, at that witching hour. Hushed tones spoke of secrets buried deep within the fabric of reality, just waiting to be uncovered. His heart raced. This was totally crazy. Yet he felt pulled closer, as if the shadows beckoned him with an alluring whisper. And then, a soft thud echoed behind him. Panic washed over him, breathing life into his pounding chest. He spun around, but saw nothing. A dark alley loomed, its mouth open like the abyss. People don't just disappear at 3 a.m. for nothing. Were they out there? Were the three heavens real? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Liam took a step back, a bead of sweat trickling down the side of his face. The figures from the videos seemed to swirl in his mind like a dangerous hypnotic dance, both thrilling and terrifying. Each shadow felt alive, tugging at him like a ghost trying to escape the confines of the past. Was something watching him? His gut twisted, and he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever had drawn him into the chaos was just beginning to unfold. What if the whispers were meant for him? What lies ahead in those haunted hours? He took a deep breath, one shaky decision at a time leading toward the abyss. Liam's heart thundered in his chest. A surge of courage coursed through him, battling the overwhelming dread that weighed him down. He glanced back at the dark alley, the shadows swirling in an enticing dance, as if they were alive, waiting to reveal their hidden truths. What was he doing here? Why did he feel like tonight was meant for something extraordinary? As if in response to his internal struggle, a sharp cry echoed through the night. It rang out, not far from where he stood. It took a moment for his mind to process the sound, a mix between a plea for help and a warning not to intrude. Liam shivered, but curiosity crept back in, stronger than the fear gnawing at him. He hesitated, but his feet took a step forward, drawn by the sound. Each step brought a heady mix of fear and exhilaration. The night grew thicker around him, the air heavy with anticipation, almost intoxicating. Goosebumps chased each other along his arms as he approached the all-consuming darkness. "Hello?" he called out, voice barely above a whisper. It echoed back, swallowed by the shadows. Was he alone, or was someone else lurking within that suffocating blackness? Another sound pierced the stillness, soft, almost like breathing. It wasn't just in his head. The realization sent chills racing down his spine. Could it have been a ghost? Or something even more malevolent? Liam's instinct screamed for him to run, yet his feet remained rooted in place. Suddenly, a cold wind blasted through the alley, swirling around him, carrying a scent of decay and damp earth. Shadows twisted and elongated, dancing erratically under the weak light. Sweat dripped down his temples as he struggled to make sense of it all. His mind raced through the videos he'd watched, the stories he'd heard. If only he could just turn back, forget this madness, but within the fog of fear, another part of him, a darker, perhaps more reckless part, urged him forward. He stepped into the alley, his heart pounding as he peered into the depths. A figure materialized at the far end of the alley, just beyond the faint light. A woman stood there, her hair cascading like dark waves, eyes glimmering like stars in a pitch-black sky. She looked out of place, ethereal, almost unattainable. As their eyes met, something deep within Liam stirred, a connection he couldn't explain. In that vulnerable moment, she raised a hand, beckoning him closer. "Don't be afraid," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. "You're meant to be here." He felt the weight of her words settle upon him, strong and tangible. What did she want from him? Why was she here at this hour, in this wretched place? Was she one of the lost souls who wandered between realms? Time seemed to freeze as he advanced a few cautious steps, each one begging for a resolution he couldn't grasp. The shadows danced more feverishly, closing in around him. Suddenly, the flickering streetlights died, plunging him into utter darkness. He stumbled, panic flooding his veins. The woman vanished, swallowed by the night. "Wait!" His voice erupted in desperation, but only silence answered back. Liam felt the pull of the dark, the whispers growing louder, drowning out reason. Something was very wrong, and dread coiled tightly around his gut. What had he walked into? What had just slipped away into the void? As he stood there, paralyzed by fear and intrigue, a sharp crash reverberated through the night. Liam's breath hitched as he turned. There was movement behind him, shadows that seemed to take form, and they were closing in fast. Was it too late to escape? Or was this just the beginning of something unspeakable? The shadows whispered more insistently, louder than before, and Liam realized he had a choice but what lay beyond the threshold of the darkness. And before he could answer, a chilling voice slithered through the shadows, "Welcome to the three heavens." Liam's heart raced as the voice echoed through the darkness, wrapping around him like a cold shroud. He could feel it pulling him in different directions, every shadow morphing into something tangible, something sinister. Panic thrummed beneath his skin. The alley had turned into a claustrophobic maze, the walls pressing in as the echoes of her words reverberated painfully in his mind. "Three heavens?" He called into the suffocating void, his voice shaking with uncertainty. "What does that mean?" There was no answer, just a suffocating silence that felt almost mocking. The shadows shifted again, morphing and intertwining. Liam strained his eyes to pierce through the thick blackness, but all he saw were swirling forms, moving faster than he could comprehend. A deep, guttural laugh rippled through the air, sending icy fingers down his spine. Instinct kicked in. He took a step back, his body screaming to flee yet held captive by the sheer intrigue. What did this place hold? What were the three heavens? As he took a shaky breath, he remembered the woman's voice, soft yet commanding, alluring. "Don't be afraid," she had said, but fear wrapped around him like a vice grip. The laughter morphed into whispering, slithering words that crawled into his ear. "Welcome to our domain, Liam. You are here for a reason. The question is, do you wish to learn or to run?" With his heart pounding in his ears, he took a step forward instead of back. Curiosity gnawed at him, and he felt as if he were being drawn into a web woven of shadows and secrets. Fear was still there, clawing at his insides, but there was something else, an overwhelming sense of fate. Was he truly meant to be here? Then, as if in answer to his doubts, light flickered into existence. It was dim at first, growing steadily brighter until it illuminated the alley around him. The woman stood at the far end once more, beckoning him with that same eerily magnetic gesture. Her silhouette glowed with an ethereal light, the shadows retreating as if repelled by her presence. "Come, Liam," she urged, a cadence in her voice that seemed to resonate deep within him. "You need to understand the truths that lie here. Only then will you find peace." "What truth?" Liam managed to choke out. Was he ready for whatever lies ahead? Did he even have a choice? "The truth about existence," she replied softly, her eyes piercing through him. "The veil that separates worlds, life, death, and the realms beyond are thinner here. You're caught between the weave of the living and the lost. The spirits that linger in the three heavens are waiting for you." Something about her words felt possessive, almost intoxicating. He could feel the weight of their meaning heavy in the air. The laughter returned, louder this time, echoing off invisible walls. Shadows condensed around him, taking shape, figures writhing and contorting as if they were bursting to escape their dark prison. The pressure mounted, breath caught in his throat. He glanced back toward the alley's entrance, a small part of him desperate to flee. But as he turned to the woman, her expression softened, revealing a flicker of warmth amid the chaos. "Choose quickly," she urged, urgency lacing her voice. "They are restless, and the hour grows late." As the shadows surged forward, a chilling realization washed over Liam. Somewhere within this forgotten alley, the answers he sought awaited him. Would he step beyond the threshold of fear and uncertainty? Were the three heavens truly a fortress of lost souls, or were they a path to something greater? His heart raced. Would he stand his ground against the darkness fishing for souls, or succumb to flight? "Liam," the woman's voice pulled him closer, "make your choice, now." And as the shadows merged around him, all he could see were their glinting eyes. Could he confront them? Would he unveil their enigmatic truth? The time for hesitation was over, but what truth would he uncover behind that dark veil? He took a breath, ready to answer. Liam felt a jolt deep in his chest. The shadows seemed to pulse, alive and hungry, swirling like a tempest around him. Was this his moment to make a choice, or was this only a cruel illusion? "Stay or go," the woman beckoned, her voice thick with an unearthly allure. "But know this, truth comes at a price." The words hung heavy in the air, wrapping around him like a chilling fog. He took a step toward the light, drawn by her presence, yet dread pulled in his stomach. What price? What truth? A commotion erupted from the shadows. The forms twisted violently, their whispers escalating into a dissonant symphony of sorrow and rage, pulling at his senses. "Do not let them take you!" cried a voice, sharp and frantic. It belonged to a figure bursting forth from the shadows, dark and gaunt, with hollow eyes that felt like they were peering into the abyss. "They are not of this world. They want your light." Liam stumbled back, uncertainty gnawing at his mind. Light? What light? A flicker of his own heartbeat surged through him. Was he truly bright enough to attract something from the dark? "Stay with me, Liam." The woman's voice rose above the cacophony, urgent yet soothing, like a balm over a wound. "I will make sure you are safe." Yet her charm wove a web of doubt. Was safety possible here? A brief hesitation flickered in his mind. The specter in the shadows screeched, "Do not trust her. She's leading you to your doom." The decision clung to him like a second skin. Could he trust the mystifying woman, or was she deceiving him like the twisted shadows that now thrummed with life? The whispers around him transformed into cries for help, the echoes of tormented souls begging for liberation. They felt familiar, clawing at the edges of his memory. "Liam! You are the key!" The woman reached forward, her hands glowing, illuminating the darkness surrounding them. "You must remember who you are. Who you were." His heart thundered, something was uncoiling within him. Memories flashed like lightning, laughter shared under summer skies, the warmth of loving arms, faces he couldn't quite recognize. Was he trapped in this enigmatic place because he had forgotten? Forgotten who he was? The shadows jerked and twisted, trying to reach out to him. The air thickened, wrapping around him like chains. He closed his eyes, desperation rising. "What do you want from me?" "Your choice will unlock the door." The woman's voice was a smooth caress, but her eyes burned with urgency. "The three heavens hold the truth of your existence, but you must face your past." "Face my past," he echoed, eyes snapping open. The thought was a scorching ember lodged in his throat. Was he prepared to confront the fragments of a life once lived? The laughter, hope, pain, heartache. But the shadows encroached, twisting closer, their whispers transforming into roars of anguish, threatening to drown out her voice. "Choose, Liam!" she shouted, her words barely slicing through the growing tempest. Liam's breath quickened. A fork lay before him: stay and dig deep into the roots of his own existence, or bolt into the oblivion of darkness behind him. Beyond the veil lay the unknown, a labyrinth of memories, ones that could unleash a power he didn't fully understand. "Liam! The urgency seeped into his bones. In this world where the living brushed against the lost, could he break the chains for others? For himself? He inhaled sharply, drawing on every ounce of will. Okay. I'll face it, he declared, voice trembling but firm. I'll confront my past. As the shadows lunged forward, an explosive rush of energy swept through him, tugging him toward the threshold. Light crackled like electricity. But then, just before he could step forward, the ground quaked, and a deafening roar erupted, shattering the air like glass. What had he unleashed? Liam stood at the cusp of revelation, but the darkness surged with a beastly intensity, determined to claim him. He realized he wasn't just confronting his past, but rather, awakening something inside him that may have been better left undisturbed. What awaited him on the other side of that threshold? Would he find solace, or would the truth shatter him entirely? His heart pounded, steady and fierce, and he was ready for whatever came next. The roar echoed, a creature of chaos unleashed. Liam felt the vibrations in his bones. He swayed, fighting the intense pull of the shadows, as if they were a storm raging around him. Something dark and primal stirred beneath the surface of his thoughts. He gritted his teeth, determined to push through. Remember, Liam! The woman's voice cut through the noise like a blade. The glow from her hands flickered, illuminating the creeping darkness around them briefly. You must hold on to your light. His light? What light? Panic clawed at him as he searched within. Memories flared, but they felt like ghost fragments slipping through his fingers. He could see a small boy, laughing under a willow tree, the sun catching his messy hair, a woman's warm embrace, her soothing whispers. Mother? Father? Faces that didn't linger long enough to leave a mark. The shadows rippled and converged, an undulating mass of desperate souls, clawing and reaching, their whispers morphing into guttural snarls. Release us! Save us! They cried, a haunting chorus that tugged at his heart. Liam, focus! The woman urged, her own light flickering, waning. You can save them, but you must reclaim your past. Reclaim? Liam echoed, desperation lining his voice. How? Her features sharpened, and for a moment, her eyes glowed with a fierce intensity. You must face the three heavens. Remember the choices you made, the paths you took. They lie ahead. In a dizzying moment, the swirling shadows parted, revealing a shimmering portal that pulsed with a rhythmic heartbeat. Colors he had never seen danced within, bright and vivid, yet tinged with something unseen that sent shivers racing down his spine. Every instinct urged him to flee back into the shadows, yet something inside, faint but resolute, kept him rooted. Step through, Liam! She called, raising her hands high. Light surged from her, battling back the darkness, but it flickered dangerously. The choice is yours. His breath hitched. Could he step into the unknown? Would he find what had been lost? The cacophony around him grew louder, a swirl of anguished souls fighting for his attention. With a primal roar, the dark forms lunged toward him. Now! The woman cried, her voice filled with urgency. Summoning every ounce of courage, he lunged toward the portal, but the shadows became a wall, slashing at him, pulling him back. You will not escape! They shrieked, voices morphed into something entirely monstrous. Panic surged through him. I want the truth! He yelled over the din, the words ripping from his throat, raw and desperate, and suddenly there was a stillness. It felt like a fragile truce. The shadows paused, expectantly. They seemed to lean closer, listening. The truth will cost you more than you can imagine, a whisper floated from the shadows, cold and slippery. Whatever it takes, he shouted back, determination igniting within him. The shadows recoiled as if stung. With a collective hiss, they shifted, revealing the portal, brighter than before, a blinding white that felt like home. Remember, the woman's voice faded, but not before he caught a glimmer of sorrow in her gaze. With a primal roar, Liam leaped into the portal, surrendering to the brightness. He fell forward, plunging into a boundless sea of memories and light, swirling and tumbling. Faces flashed before his eyes, moments of his life he had tucked away under the weight of darkness. Joy and pain danced together, loved ones he lost, mistakes that haunted him, choices he had made and regrets he had buried. Liam came to a sudden stop. Breathless, he found himself standing on a precipice, gazing into an expanse filled with possibilities, like stars awaiting a wish. But surrounding him was an eerie quiet, and he stood alone, exposed, with only the whisper of darkness behind him. What was this place? Had he truly escaped, or merely walked deeper into the abyss of his own despair? The ground trembled beneath him, and he realized he wasn't alone in this new realm. Shadows swirled at the edges, waiting for him to falter. With every beat of his heart he sensed the weight of the truths he would uncover pressing down, and he knew with terrifying clarity that whatever awaited him would reshape him in unimaginable ways. What awaited him now? Could he harness his pain for strength, or would the shadows finally claim him? The wind howled, a chilling warning, and Liam stood at the edge, heart racing, the darkness looming just behind the light. Was he ready to confront the truths that lay ahead, or would he stumble into the depths once more? Liam's heart pounded like a drum as he gazed into the shimmering expanse before him, a canvas of uncharted paths stretching endlessly. Each moment felt stretched thin, as if time itself held its breath in anticipation of his next move. He sensed the shadows lurking at the periphery, their whispers echoing in a haunting lullaby, reminding him of the price of his truth. Face them, a voice echoed, barely audible above the chaos. It was the woman her image flickered, struggling to maintain her presence in this void. The three heavens, each choice, each regret will come to life. Are you ready? Ready? The question sank deep, sending ripples of dread through him. Could anyone ever be ready for such a confrontation? But as he clutched his fists, determination flickered like a flame in his chest. He stepped forward, the ground shifting beneath his feet as the world morphed around him. The dark shadows coalesced against the backdrop of his new reality, forming grotesque figures, representations of his fears. Each creature bore a twisted grin, an exaggerated echo of himself. "This is what you've become," one sneered, a reflection of his insecurities. "Weak. Lost. Unworthy." Liam clenched his jaw, recalling the moments he had brushed aside, the dreams cast aside for safety. Was this truly him? The failure? The coward? Enough! Liam shouted, his voice dripping with newfound conviction. The figures recoiled, their forms flickering like a dying flame. "You do not define me, I define my own worth." Suddenly, the void erupted into vibrant color, revealing three distinct heavens, each swirling with its own energy. The first was a golden realm, radiant and warm, where laughter and joy echoed. The second shimmered in shades of blue, cool and tranquil, an oasis of peace. The third, however, was like molten fire, raw and chaotic, a vortex of passions unrestrained. Stepping into the gold realm, a sense of nostalgia enveloped him. Faces materialized, his childhood friends, moments of joy. Laughter erupted, echoing like a sweet memory. Yet as he reached out, the laughter dissolved into cries, twisted into accusations. "You left us!" a voice howled, drawing tears from his eyes. "No!" Liam shouted, but the weight of guilt bore down like a heavy fog. The shadows crept closer, ready to engulf him. He ripped himself away from the illusion, stumbling into the blue realm. Here calm washed over him, a fleeting peace, familiar yet paradoxical. But the shadows surged, manifesting visions of loneliness and isolation. "Remember the times you pushed us away," a voice whispered. "What did you gain?" "Solitude," Liam retorted, the truth cutting deeper than any blade. "But it's not enough." He surged forward, propelled toward the final realm, a combustion of fire and shadows. The chaos surged around him, flames flickered wildly, reflecting his pent-up rage. "Here, you'll confront your true self," a voice roared, echoing through the tempest. Face to face with the embodiment of his guilt and anger, Liam stood his ground. "I'm done running. I refuse to be a prisoner of my past." The shadow twisted, morphing into a grotesque reflection of Liam's darkest moments, his mistakes, his failures. The energy thrummed in the air, tension crackling like lightning. "This is your truth," it bellowed, and for an instant, doubt seeped in. Could he truly confront this darkness? "Yes," he whispered fiercely. "And I will claim it." With that, he charged forward, ready to wrestle with the very shadows that had haunted him. In a whirlwind of chaos, light clashed with darkness, revealing flashes of what was the choices he made, the hearts he broke, and the paths he shunned. The truth was blinding, illuminating every piece of himself he had buried. But even as he fought, the shadows whispered sweetly, "Will you survive the truth?" Just as the light began to overcome the darkness, the ground shifted beneath him, revealing a chasm that threatened to swallow him whole. Liam grasped for the edge, his heart racing. Could he truly conquer what lay ahead? What other secrets did the three heavens hold? With urgency pulsing through his veins, he pulled himself back, teetering at the brink. As the shadows howled in fury, he had no choice but to leap into the unknown once more. What awaited him on the other side? Would the truth set him free, or would it ensnare him forever? The moment Liam leaped, he felt the air whirling around him like a wild, frigid wind. Time seemed to stretch into eternity, a dizzying blur of color and sound enveloping him. He had no idea where he was going. All that mattered was breaking free from the grip of the shadows that had tormented him. Then, with a jarring thud, he landed on solid ground. He stumbled to his feet, breathless, and could scarcely take in his new surroundings. This new place felt different. The air was thick, weighted with the smell of smoke and fire. Crumbling ruins loomed around him, etched with grotesque depictions of despair and regret. Liam's heart raced. "Where am I?" His voice echoed back to him, swallowed by an oppressive silence that felt alive. As he scanned the dark landscape, he spotted flickering lights in the distance, flames dancing against the night. Curiosity pulled him forward. Each step sent a chill down his spine. The remnants of what seemed like a forgotten civilization stretched endlessly before him, as if frozen in a moment of chaos. His every footfall stirred memories that lined the ground like scattered pages of a book he desperately wished he could rewrite. Suddenly, whispers slithered through the air, chilling him to his core. "You came back to face the darkest truth." The voices wove around him, familiar yet foreign, interspersed with haunting laughter. Shadows began to coalesce from the dark corners, forming monstrous figures with twisted faces. "Welcome to the underworld of your creation," one of them hissed, its eyes glinting with malice. "Here, your every regret finds a voice." "No!" Liam shouted, raising his fists in defiance, though doubt gnawed at the edges of his resolve. "I'm not here for you. I'm here for the truth." Liam's mind raced, recalling the golden realm where innocence had slipped through his fingers and the tranquil blue realm that reminded him of solitude. He had thought he could outrun his past. Now he had to confront it head-on. Ignoring the taunts coming from the swirling shadows, he pressed onward, each step fueled by desperation. The flickering flames ahead grew closer, transforming into flickering images of past choices, the friends he had pushed away, moments he had let slip by. In them, he saw the reflection of a younger man, full of hope. The visions morphed before his eyes, darkening concepts of failure tangled with his own insecurities. "Are you afraid, Liam?" Another voice emerged, smirking. "You haven't really changed. You're still running." "No!" he shouted again, each denial carrying the weight of his determination. "You don't own me." But as he stepped closer to the flickering lights, the visions of his past lunged at him, dragging him into a whirlwind of memories. He was a child again, standing at the threshold of his childhood home, faced with the pivotal choice of chasing his dreams or playing it safe. "Choose!" The shadows screamed, their cacophony tightening around him like a noose. Liam felt the edges of despair closing in. Every choice rippled out, intertwined with fate. Would he relive his failings? Would he crumble under the weight of what he had been too afraid to confront? The flames surged, illuminating a pathway shaped by his mistakes, yet somewhere deep in his chest, he felt a flicker of defiance igniting once more. "I choose to face this," he declared, unwilling to surrender to the darkness. As the shadows screeched in fury, Liam stepped forward toward the heart of the flames, ready to reclaim the truth behind the ruins of his choices. In that tumultuous moment, he understood that only by facing his past could he seize his future. But just as Liam plunged into the glowing vortex, a voice cried out, a final whisper caught in the storm. Will you accept what you find, or will it consume you? The world around him began to spiral. What brutal truths awaited in the fire? Would the confrontation shatter him, or would it finally lead him to freedom? The heat from the flames engulfed him, swirling in a dance that felt both alarming and familiar. Colors blended into a chaotic symphony, and as Liam crossed into the vortex, it felt like diving into an ocean of fire. The brilliant light blinded him momentarily, but as his eyes adjusted, he found himself standing on a narrow path carved into solid obsidian. Around him, the flames flickered like angry spirits, illuminating scenes from moments long past. The air was thick, almost suffocating, filled with the acrid scent of burning memories. Each flicker revealed a new tableau, a fragment of his life he had long abandoned. They were not just memories. They were wild, visceral reenactments of his fears and regrets. Face us. A chorus of voices boomed, echoing through the emptiness. You ran from the shadows, but here they thrive. Liam's chest tightened as he was dragged deeper into the illusions. One memory jerked him to a standstill, his friend Marcus, laughing at something silly they had done as kids. But the laughter twisted, morphing into a deep wail of betrayal. He remembered the day he'd chosen to ignore Marcus's call, to bury himself in his own troubles instead of reaching out. A moment that had spiraled into years of silence, regret flooding over him like thick, wet concrete. No, he gasped, overwhelmed by the surge of guilt. He stumbled backward, almost falling into the flames, but something kept him anchored. Embrace your failures, Liam, another voice hissed. It held a seductive kindness, yet venom threaded the promise within. Only by acknowledging them can you rise. With every gut-wrenching scene, Liam's resolve started to waver. A snapshot of his teenage self, alone on the high school football field, the ball spiraling away from him. He had been terrified of not being enough, too afraid to try. That moment curled around him, tightening like a noose, feeding the shadows that whispered incessantly, gnawing at his will. Your weak always have been, no! He yelled, the sound of his defiance slicing through the chaos. In response, the eldritch fires roared higher, flames reaching out as if to snatch him away. Dare to confront us? Or dare to dive further into oblivion? From the unseen depths erupted the shape of a figure, a dark silhouette emerging from the depths of flame, standing stark against the blaze. The figure bore a striking resemblance to Liam, yet filled with despair. The eyes were wide, gleaming with unshed tears of a past that cut deep. You think you can escape me? It whispered. You are me. Liam felt a cold sweat break out on his skin. No, you're wrong, he shouted, voice trembling yet fierce. I'm different now. I don't have to be that person anymore. Prove it, the figure taunted, a mirthless smile spreading across its lips. Accept the truth of what you were. Accept that you will never escape. The flames roared higher, the laughter of memories swelling into a cacophony of agony. Liam closed his eyes, bracing himself against the overwhelming tide. He needed to understand, to confront the parts of himself he had tried so hard to bury. With renewed determination, he opened his eyes and stepped forward, the heat pulsing around him like the heartbeat of a monstrous beast. I want to run. I will face you, he declared, the words igniting something bright within him, a flicker of hope amidst the consuming gloom. But before he could take another step, the ground trembled. The flaming path began to crack, spreading fissures of darkness beneath his feet. Whispers turned into screams, voices rising in unison, mocking, tormenting. Will you be brave enough? Or will fear shatter you? Liam stood on the precipice, heart pounding. Could he withstand this storm? Was he truly ready to embrace the truth, no matter how devastating it might be? Just as the shadows tightened their grip, the ground unraveled beneath him. And with one final breath, he plunged into the abyss, a scream escaping his lips as darkness enveloped him. What awaited him in the depths? Would he find salvation, or would he be lost forever in the anguished echoes of his own shattered psyche? Liam fell through the darkness, weightless and disoriented. The screams of his memories faded to a dull hum, merging with the rush of wind. Time lost meaning as he tumbled through the void. When he landed, it was with a bone-jarring thud against the solid surface. He lay still for a moment, absorbing the metallic tang that filled the air. Cautiously, he cracked open his eyes. Everything was muted, colors dulled under a heavy fog. Emerging from the haze, he saw jagged silhouettes in the distance. He stood, his body a mass of trembling unease. "Welcome to the underworld," a voice coiled around him. It was chillingly familiar. Liam spun to see the shadowy figure from before, now more distinct, standing casually against the wall of rock that encased this grim place. "You," Liam gasped, eyes wide, "this is... I'm not in hell." Yet the figure grinned, a cruel twist to its lips. "You're in the limbo of your own making. A place where truth and fear wrestle for control." The fog began to lift, revealing a landscape riddled with dark spires and twisted trees that seemed to stretch toward the sky like tortured souls. Memories pulsed in the atmosphere, echoing with the familiar faces of those he had lost, transforming into grotesque forms that mocked him. "Why are you doing this?" Liam demanded, frustration coupled with fear heating his voice. "Because you need to remember," it replied, advancing slowly. "Each shadow is your creation. Each regret harnessing power over you. You've been running, and now you must confront each step you took to abandon your life." A flash of fury ignited within Liam. "I'm not afraid of my past." He took a step forward, fists clenched. "Not yet," the figure hissed, eyes gleaming with malevolence. "But once these fragments awaken, you will be forced to relive every moment. You cannot escape the echoes of your choices." Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled. Liam staggered, eyes darting. Dark shadows broke away from the spires, swirling around him like vultures, drawn to flesh and fear. Faces materialized within the gloom, their mouths twisting into sinister smiles. "Help us," Liam, one impulse begged, the voice thick with sorrow. "It was Marcus. You turned away when I needed you most." "No! Get away from me!" Panic clawed at Liam's throat, suffocating him. "You don't control me. Face the truth." Marcus's figure morphed into a monstrous version, eyes hollow, writhing in torment. "Running will not save you." As despair surged in his chest, Liam summoned his courage. "You're not real," he shouted at the specters swirling around. "You're just memories trying to bind me in guilt." "Memories shape you, Liam," the figure cackled. "What happens when fear has its grip?" The shadows lurched toward him, their hunger palpable, a wave of darkness desperate to swallow him whole. Liam could feel their icy tendrils grasping at his ankles, the pressure building, threatening to drag him down. How much longer could he keep fighting? Was he strong enough to face what he had tried to leave behind? He needed to remember, to weave through the pain and confront these horrors head-on. "Enough!" he roared, the defiance rising within him, and then, without knowing how, he charged forward. In that moment, the ground cracked again, and a bright light exploded from his chest, causing the shadows to recoil. But then he saw an enormous door at the far end of the path, shimmering like a beacon through the crackling mist. What lay beyond it? Would it lead to freedom or deeper into the labyrinth of his own making? With every ounce of strength, he took a step toward the door, the shadows whispering their maledictions around him. Could he break through? Or would he be swallowed by the very darkness that had haunted him for so long? He reached for the door's handle, heart pounding like a war drum. What awaited him on the other side? Would he find clarity or darkness? The moment felt electric, charged with possibility. But the door suddenly shifted, a shadowy hand grasping for him. As Liam clutched the handle, a scream echoed around him. Was it his own? The door swung open, and all he could see was blinding light. Would he step through, or would he be consumed by the darkness before his very eyes? Liam's heart raced as he stood before the shimmering door, a radiant burst of light threatening to swallow him whole. He could feel the shadows clawing at his back, their whispers transforming into shrieks of terror. The very air hummed with intensity, crackling, as if anticipating his next move. "Now or never!" he shouted, his voice sounding foreign even to him, filled with urgency, desperation, and something deeper strength. With trembling hands he gripped the cold brass handle and flung the door open. Light exploded around him, enveloping him in a cocoon of warmth and clarity, dissolving the darkness like mist under the sun. He stumbled forward, eyes squinting against the brilliance. When the light faded, he found himself standing on a verdant hillside, bright and calm, a stark contrast to the chaos he had just escaped. The air here was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the sky stretched endlessly above, a brilliant blue without a single cloud. Heart pounding, he looked around. Familiar faces emerged slowly, beacons of warmth and love. There was Marcus, laughing with joy, his eyes twinkling just as they had when they were boys. His mother, arms wide, a smile stretching across her face, perfectly capturing the essence of love and support. Each figure melted into existence around Liam, shrouded in light. "You made it," Marcus said, his voice soothing, like a balm against the sharp edges of guilt that had plagued Liam. "You faced the shadows. You confronted your truth." Tears burned in Liam's eyes as he took in the scene forming before him. "But I lost so much. I thought I could save you, but I wasn't strong enough." The weight of his past was still heavy in his heart. His mother stepped forward, a gentle hand brushing against his cheek. "You didn't lose us, Liam. We've always been with you. Every choice, every mistake, shaped who you are today. You learned to face the darkness, not by running, but by embracing it." "But why did it hurt so much?" he implored, guilt and regret intertwining within him. "Because facing the truth reveals who we truly are," she replied, her voice radiant, imbued with compassion. "Only through love can we allow healing." Standing amidst these ethereal figures, Liam felt pieces of himself knit back together with every heartbeat. The laughter and joy surrounding him filled the aching void inside, coaxing tender memories out of the shadows where they had long resided. In that moment, a feeling of hope blossomed. His power was not in perfection, but in resilience. He recognized that true healing lay in allowing himself to feel both the joy and the pain of his journey. When he embraced those memories, they transformed into beautiful lessons, shaping his path moving forward. "You are free now," Marcus said, grinning, illuminated by the light of their past. "Live, build, and create the future. Remember us, not as shadows holding you prisoner, but as guides lighting your way." A sudden clarity washed over Liam. It wasn't the end that mattered, but the journey, the choices made, the growth forged in the fires of experience. He felt the weight of his old self slip away, liberating him like a flower unfolding towards the sun. As many resplendent memories surged forth, he knew they were not just echoes of the past but seeds for a new beginning. They would guide him into the world beyond this moment, a tapestry woven of both triumph and struggle. With a grateful heart, Liam looked into the eyes of the souls who had shaped his life. "Thank you for showing me. I won't forget again," he vowed, solid resolve igniting within him. "I will share your light with others." As the warmth of their love enveloped him, Liam took a deep breath, ready to step into the vast expanse of the future. These moments would forever embolden him, bridging the realms of the living and the lost. One last glance at the horizon filled him with fierce determination. He stepped into the light, heart open wide, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, his own truth, his new life, waiting just beyond the dawn. The shadows faded behind him, whispers of the past transforming into echoes of encouragement as he ventured forward, the light guiding his way. And now, before you go, listen closely. You need to subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now. It helps the algorithm so much. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this gripping conclusion. What did you think of Liam's journey? Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this thrilling conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.